Welcome to the 10th episode of Vitals and Voices. I'm Latika and I'm the founder and host.
And I'm Alessandra, and I serve on the Executive Council as a volunteer for Vitals and Voices.
And
And
together
together we
we
serve
serve on the executive
the
board
Executive Board
of
of
Vitals
Vitals
and
and
Voices.
Voices.
Vitals and Voices highlights the paths of healthcare professionals offering lessons, advice, and inspiration for students pursuing careers in medicine and healthcare.
Please welcome our guest, Dr. Faith.
Dr. Faith, thank you so much for joining us. It's truly an honor to have you here. To start things off, could you give us a brief introduction about yourself and what you do?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be on this platform. So I am Dr. Faith Mahlangu. I am a medical doctor. I work in psychiatry. I work in a hospital where we have inpatients and then we also do some community psychiatry. I'm also a mental health advocate. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I am an ambassador of the African Health Excellence Awards. So everything that I do is about mental health, it's about healthcare, health advocacy. I'd say that I'm a multifaceted individual. I love being able to be in the hospital, being able to be outside, really being in the community, interacting with people, educating them, providing healthcare in every way that I possibly can. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Amazing. What inspired you to enter the healthcare field and pursue the work you're doing now?
Yeah, so it's a long process because I was never really 100% sure. As I said, that I'm very multifaceted, so I was always someone who was interested in various things. So I think for me, healthcare found me before I knew. I was always interested. I was always curious. I was always someone who wanted to serve people, but I knew that I didn't want to be in an office as well. I then had a deep fascination in people and how they function, and in the mind specifically, wanting to understand the people's behaviors, what motivates them. And I think I realized when I did all of my research, I realized that actually, in order for me to be able to merge it all, being able to serve people and also feed my curiosity, medicine was the way to go. And I loved that I was not confined. Like I said, I didn't want to be in an office space because there was a point where I thought I wanted to do accounting, but I was like, I can't actually be like in an office. So yeah, I spoke to a few people, and yeah, I then decided that medicine is where it's at. And yeah, the rest is history.
Well, that's amazing. So, you've shared that your motivation comes from helping other people step up into their best selves. So, can you talk more about what keeps you going, especially in the most challenging situations?
Oh, definitely. So, what keeps me going is actually what I didn't do. So, as I said, I was someone who was really interested in, medicine and being able to serve people. But my language in taking care of myself was my downfall because I didn't know how to take care of myself. And I was really good at learning about people, learning about systems, all of that. And I kind of lost the ability to see myself. And I literally saw such a marked deterioration in the essence of who I was. And I spent a very large part of my life not being my best self. In fact, I think I was on the negative aspect. And that experience, I remember there was a point in my life where I qualified, I was working, I was an intern, and I was like, I'm so unhappy with who I am. I've achieved things, but I'm not happy. And that birthed the desire for me to seek my own healing and my own, fulfillment. And that, I think, when I saw myself on the other side, which is a continuous journey, that's then what fuels me. I was like, I know what it is to be on the side where I have no idea who I am and I'm unable to really show up. And now being on the other side is what drives me to maintain it, to commit to it, but also to really show up for people and to really inspire them to actually invest in their own wellness in whichever form, because yeah, the other side, guys, it's the worst. It's not it. And I think that's what really gets me waking up. It's not easy. It's not easy speaking about something that is so people, there's still a lot of stigma around what I do. There's still a lot of resistance. Um, but what keeps me going is knowing that someone else could have the same testimony that I have, which is I was once at this place and I've seen the light. So I think that's really my motivation when things get really hard.
That's great. Mental health is such an important area of medicine. Can you share why you're so passionate about it and why this issue matters deeply to you?
Oh, I'm I'm so passionate about it because I have really grown to see how much poor mental health impacts an individual, families, and societies, communities as a whole. And as I said, that I have my own journey with mental illness, and I saw how I wasn't able to show up in so many areas of my life. I wasn't able to show up for myself, for my relationships, for my workplace. And I don't think people realize just how impairing an unwell mind is. And that's why I'm so invested in advocating and in educating and entering the uncomfortable spaces, having the uncomfortable conversations, because the most rewarding thing is, whenever we admit someone they're admitted and they're not well and we're having to really manage them, but it's so rewarding to see them walking out clean, being a functional member of society, and being able to see them do well, being able to see the family unit get better. And it's really just so motivating and so important for me, for other people to be able to access that. I think a lot of people still think that when it comes to mental health, you need to suffer through it, or you need to get yourself, or you don't want to be weak. But if we get out there and we help people realize that there's actually help and there's no shame in it, and you can be able to access it and be able to live a quality life, it's really my driving force, and it's why I'm so incredibly invested in it. And it's really fascinating, guys. I mean, really learning how the mind works is the most interesting thing, system. And if we're able to understand that, it's literally just learning how to maneuver the system so that it functions appropriately. So yeah, that's why I just love it so much.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Mental health is such a important perspective in all areas of medicine. So one thing we really admire about your work is how you've built mental versations and created spaces for people to engage with mental health in empowering ways. Can you tell us more about that journey?
Yes, of course. So Mentalversations, actually it started as it was the Unwell Mind. So it was just a blog that I did. And so I work in the mental health space. So in working with patients, you see them, you discharge them, and then they go into the community. And our community, we still have a long way to go in terms of mental health care. And I think my frustration was I'm in the hospital, I give them all this, but who then goes and follows them up and gives people information in the communities? And outside of that, though, what about the people who don't end up in the hospital? Because not everyone is going to end up being admitted. How do we then give them information? And then that's then what birthed Mentalversations, which was really about conversations. Mental health conversations, ones the conversations that we have with ourselves, so the internal voice, the conversations we have with our families, our close people, and then as well as society. It really is a platform for us to rebrand the way that mental health looks, a safe space for people to be able to come. And what the vision around mental conversation is that we want to cater for everyone, because mental health education and mental health is for everyone. So if you're interested in arts, we're going to give you mental health arts. If you're interested in conversation, where we sit and we have long form content, then we'll have that for you. If you're interested in going to conferences, then we basically want to ensure that everyone is able to access mental health information, mental health care in a way that is relevant to them. And that's essentially it. We've got support groups, we've got online communities. There's just a lot that we're wanting to do to get people interacting with mental health in a way that makes them comfortable, and in a way that, historically mental health has always been stigmatized. And it's always been, you've got this white jacket and, you're wanting to be isolated from the community. But we're saying that's not what it is. It's really just a space where we come and we collaborate and we help you, we inform you, and we empower you to be your best self.
What a meaningful journey. You also mentioned pioneering men's mental health spaces, which is so needed but often overlooked. What has it been like leading that movement, and what impact have you seen?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard, and it's hard because men are generally very, I think they tend to be very disregarded when it comes to these spaces, but also communities around men and the conversations around mental health are not, it's not something that we commonly see. So now it's really entering into uncharted waters, but necessary, because the sad thing about men and their mental illness or their mental health is that they are the ones who fill up our wards. I mean, a lot of in the hospital that I work in, our wards are constantly full of men, and they're kind of, by the time they interact with the mental health space, things are really, really bad. So it has not been easy, and it's not an easy journey, because we're really entering into uncomfortable territory, but it's necessary because men are such a significant part of society, such a significant part of our homes, and we're constantly seeing such deterioration in our men. So it's hard, but it's so meaningful and so necessary. I think the good. I think you said, what have we seen? What impact have we seen? And I mean, just really seeing men say that they have been missing a safe space, seeing men being able to come in and talk about things that they struggle with, and finding solace in men and finding comfort in men and finding a space where they can actually go and exist as human beings outside of the roles that society give them is actually so meaningful, and it's so encouraging. I think when you have a man who comes and says, "Okay, when is the next meeting? When can we meet? This has changed my life." I think we've had men who've said to us that because of the conversations, because of the platform, they've actually sought therapy. And that's something that's so hard to come by, particularly in our society and our community. So it's hard, but it's necessary and it's really meaningful. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I love seeing the men engage with themselves, engage with one another, and rewrite what masculinity is. So yeah.
That's really powerful, and I love that mission of yours. So, looking ahead, what are some of your goals for the future, whether through Mentalversations, advocacy, or other projects in healthcare?
So I have so many goals. But essentially, it's impact. It's getting people to firstly access quality healthcare. We're in the digital age. There's a lot of information out there, and it can really be overwhelming. And people can feel as though they don't really know what is true, what is not. So if we create platforms which say to people that you're able to come and access quality healthcare, accurate information concerning what it is that you're looking for, and safety. I think that helps to redirect where healthcare is, and then also to really destigmatize. A lot of my work is within the mental health sphere, and like I said, that my mission is to really create a platform where people, it's a hub. So if you are looking for a certain structure in terms of your own wellness, you can find it. If you resonate with drama therapy, you can find it. If you resonate with art therapy, you can find it. If you like water therapy, because a human being can't be put in a box. And that's essentially, what the vision is. And for us to engage about mental health across borders. Mental health, or the human experience is not limited to, the fact that I stay in a certain town in Mpumalanga in South Africa. We can have these conversations across borders as humans, being able to learn from each other, being able to advocate for one another. So currently I'm engaging with various African countries. And then that also ties into the work that I'm doing with the African Health Excellence Awards. And this is where we look at health excellence in the African continent. So that is very exciting. Really highlighting excellence in healthcare. Really, what we do is we identify healthcare workers who are doing amazing works, and we just honor them because there's a lot of negativity within the healthcare industry, especially now with job shortages. So if we can then go and look at what people are doing to inspire communities, that's essentially what really drives me. And I think just to highlight, particularly what's important to me on this platform is students. I struggled through med school without really having support. And for me, it's just so incredibly important to be a voice for the people who are still in the medical training, for them to know that it's rough, but it's not possible. There is support for you out there. You don't need to suffer in silence. And yeah, essentially, that's it. I don't want to keep going, but yeah, that's essentially what the vision is.
Love those goals. And finally, what advice would you give to students or future healthcare professionals who want to become leaders in advocacy and help reduce stigma in medicine?
The biggest one for me, I think one of the things that medical training sometimes fails to do is to emphasize the importance of your own wellness as a healthcare worker. As you enter into into medical training or into medicine, you have this large amount of work, large amounts of expectations from your teachers, and it can easily lead to you drowning and losing sight of yourself and not knowing how important it is for you to be a full, healthy human being. So I would say that in your journey of becoming a doctor, you really need to invest in being fluent in your own wellness from the get-go. When I got into medical school, I just thought, okay, academics, academics, academics. But I was already impaired. I was really not okay. And I think back on how different my journey could have been if someone had said to me, listen, you need to be well. You need to actually have hobbies. You need to take supplements. You need to exercise. Those things have an impact on how you are and the type of clinician that you become, the type of student you are, and the type of doctor that you become. And I saw the difference the moment I changed my lens, the quality of healthcare that I'm able to provide, the way that I'm able to interact with my patients has drastically changed. And that's because I now am learning how to be fluent in seeing myself and seeing that before being a doctor, I'm a human being. And I need to nurture those areas in order for me to be able to be the best practitioner. So I would really emphasize that take care of yourself. It's not nobility to starve yourself of care. It's really just slow suicide. And it's unfortunate that we see so many healthcare workers burning out in their careers because of this really imbalanced life. So take care of yourselves, invest in yourself, and just know that self-care is not sacrificing your career. It's actually pouring into it in the long term.
Dr. Faye, thank you so much for sharing your journey and the incredible work you're doing in mental health. Your story has shown how advocacy, leadership, and compassion can transform not just individuals, but entire communities.
And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Battles and Voices. We hope you feel inspired by Dr. Fate's passion and commitment to mental health advocacy. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, share, and stay tuned for more meaningful conversations.
We'll see you next time on Vitals and Voices.